What's up, everybody? It is Monday. It's December. Holy moly. We're almost at the end of the season, December 1st, and it's Fantasy Football Today presented by BetMGM. Make it legendary. We're going to make it legendary on Beyond the Box Score today. Adam Azer, Dan Schneier, and Jacob Gibbs. Such a lousy Sunday of football, and then you give us Denver and Washington and totally redeem yourself. Yeah. Dan doesn't get that reference.
What is it from?
Jacob, want to help him out?
It's really familiar, but I'm not placing it right now.
I can't believe you know what? Not even going to tell you guys. I'm going to let you guys live in shame for the next hour.
Did you forget to shave this morning, Adam?
I didn't shave. I didn't forget to.
I've never seen you with this,
yes, you have.
Post 5 o'clock shadow with the grays are coming in.
Thanks, Dan.
Just kidding, buddy. You're stressed. It's the middle of the football season.
Yeah, I'm not stressed. I'm just gray. I'm 42. I'm almost 42. I'm 41 and a half. Fair All enough. Right, let's go. So today we're going to talk about, I think we have to talk about Justin Jefferson just because. And Rico, Dowdle, Bucky, Irving, Javonte Williams, the Chargers backfield. And, obviously Washington and Denver. I want to talk about the Bucs offense. We'll see if the Raiders did anything new with their new offensive coordinator. But let's go to Denver 27 and Washington 26. And really exciting game. Came down to a 2-point conversion in overtime. Welcome back, Terry McLaurin. He scored over 20 fantasy points. Start of the week, RJ Harvey had 2 touchdowns. Jacob, big fantasy takeaway from this game?
Yeah, you love the red zone work for Harvey. I've been tracking their quotes on him pretty closely because I've been nervous about the McLaughlin touchdown right before the bye. Came in short yardage situation. But the team has talked about how stout he is up the middle and that they really like him in those situations. So I was glad to see him get on the field for those plays because at times it's looked like they prefer the veteran there. But 50% of the snaps for Harvey in the red zone compared to 8% snap rate for McLaughlin in the red zone. He got 4 carries and did score. I would like to see him on the field more, 46% snap rate overall makes me wonder if this, 21 points is really that sustainable, which by the way, I think this was I think I saw as I was looking at the beginning of stats earlier, that was the 3rd highest score in all of fantasy this week.
Yeah.
Can that possibly be right? At any position, 21 points?
No, that's got to be.
Can't be right.
No, it's not even close. Maybe for Sunday. But Thursday, we had some high-scoring guys. J-Mo went off. And
well, I'm taking a look right now, and let's filter out all the quarterbacks real quick because that doesn't count, right?
Oh, man. All right. Look,
it's the 22nd highest score. I don't know what that was. I was like, that's not right.
All right.
It's still a low-scoring week.
Yeah, we had our highest scoring non-quarterbacks were A.J. Brown, Bijan Robinson, Rashee Rice, Jamison Williams, Dontavian Wicks, CeeDee Lamb. So of the top 6, 5 of them were on Thursday. So it does feel like, he had a standout game, and he was fine, RJ Harvey. But I'll just say this, right? I don't know if we need to get into every single player. The Denver Broncos scored 27 points in overtime against Washington. The last 7 opponents against Washington in regulation, including Denver, have scored 25, 44, 28, 38, 44, 13, and 20 points. Denver averaged the fewest yards per play of any of those 7, tied with Miami, which was the last 2 games for Washington. So maybe you think Washington's defense is getting better. My takeaway from this game was I did not come away feeling more confident about my Broncos after this game. I wanted them to go in here and roll and look good, and it just didn't look good to me. It wasn't easy. And they play Las Vegas next week, which is favorable. But Green Bay, Jacksonville, at Kansas City, you could argue 2 of their next 4 matchups are tough. I don't have a ton of faith in. I mean, the Broncos offense is good, but it's not like there's no must start to me. Harvey be the closest one.
I think the Cortland Sutton usage is probably a takeaway. It's, first game out of the bye, and we'd seen 5 straight games of him getting out targeted by Troy Franklin. But the offense wasn't working all that great. It was pretty clunky, I feel like, even in those 5 games, even though they were winning. But we've seen the offense work pretty well with Sutton being the primary read in the past. And so that's kind of what we saw here. Of course, Evan Ingram was the emphasis because it's like Bobby Wagner just like you got to attack that matchup over and over if they're going to give that to you. Especially in the second half, we saw him locking on Ingram, but Sutton did out target Franklin, and Franklin, honestly, Pat Bryant was more involved than Franklin.
Right. That's the thing. Like, you can be encouraged by Sutton, but he only had 6 targets and Bo Nix threw 45 passes.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a guy that I talked about this on Friday, where he ranks in target per out run rate. There are the only wide receiver that we consider a must start that had a lower target per out run rate than Sutton was T. Higgins. He just doesn't get targeted that much. It continues here. All right, that's enough about the Broncos.
I don't know if I even consider them a good offense or him to be a must start player. They've got Jags, Chiefs, and there was one more tough match. Packers down the stretch run.
Yeah, I don't know how tough the Jaguars are, but it's not the
bad defense.
It's right. It's not the Commanders. All right, look, but we did. I mean, the most encouraging thing here is McLaurin, right? Because he comes out now. Listen, Mariota threw 50 passes, was terrific, but McLaurin 7 catches, 96 yards, and a touchdown, 14 targets. Saw a lot of Patrick Surtain. Obviously boosted by overtime, but still had a big game, and he only ran 42.4% of the no, sorry, that was his target per out run rate. But he played like
60% route rate.
Okay, yeah, right. So not even a full-time player last night. So Dan, are you fired up? Because we could get Jaden Daniels next week.
Right.
You fired up for McLaurin?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've got Giants down the stretch run. We've got some decent matchups for McLaurin that I think he could exploit. He looked really good out there, honestly, from just a route running standpoint. I thought Collinsworth did a great job breaking down how he really does a great job of understanding what coverage the defense is playing and where to be within that coverage. And he catches everything basically thrown his way, with the exception of a few somewhat off target throws. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not excited about him like winning a league down the stretch run, but he could certainly be a player in this current fantasy environment that is not only a must-start player, but bordering wide receiver 1 in my mind if Jaden returns.
31% target share. So, it was boosted by the fact there were a ton of targets overall, but 31% target share. He's only hit that mark 6 times over the past 3 years.
Right.
I don't know what to make of Ertz. I mean, it was a great game for him, but probably Ertz and Ingram, you need 8 points. You're probably going to get that most weeks from them. They just usually don't have a lot of upside. This was a weird game for them. Yeah. But Debo to me just looks so slow. Looks like he's jogging out there. I mean, I watched all of his routes. I mean, that last one, he had that 30-something yard catch, 38-yard catch to set up 1st and goal. Riley Moss just stopped. You know, I think Moss may have been gassed at that point, but he's not having a great year, Riley Moss. But I don't know, man. Debo there's very little dynamic stuff there for him. I don't have a ton of faith in him going forward.
You want dynamics, you go to Treylon Burks.
What'd you say?
Yeah. I said you want dynamic, you go to Treylon Burks. We're back.
Yeah. Treylon Burks with one of the best catches of the year. Sick catch.
That was a sick catch. He's an interesting player as we move forward for Dynasty.
Is he?
To me. Because Debo's not going to be back there.
Another takeaway that maybe goes under the radar is Chris Rodriguez, out of the bye. What is it going to be, Bill? Really wasn't hardly any Bill. And it was pretty much primarily him. It was 80% Rodriguez in the first quarter, 62% Rodriguez in the first half. As the game got away from them, they went to more McNichols. And McNichols always seems to play well when given opportunities. But I thought Rodriguez looked good again.
He did. Only 11 carries and again 0 catches, so I don't think he'll ever have more than he's probably not gonna have more than 1 catch. He needs to have the 15 carries he had 3 weeks ago at Miami and not the 11 that he had this game, and the 12 6 15 11. But you know what, he's playing well, and it's good to have a starting running back on your team. I think that'll pretty much do it for Washington and Denver. But football fans, the Commanders can't bring that playoff energy, but you can bring that playoff energy to your pro football bets all season long. This Pro Football Boost Pack gives you 3 ways to boost your payout on a winning bet. Just log into your BetMGM account to receive your boost pack. Then place any pro football bet and apply one of the tokens. Make sure to bet up to the minimum stake, odds, and legs specified on the token. And if your boosted bet hits, bam, you'll score a bigger payout. From opening kickoffs to game-winning drives, this Pro Football Boost Pack is your ticket to unforgettable moments this season. Don't wait on the sidelines. Join the action with BetMGM. All right. Let's go through the news and notes here real quick. We've got Justin Herbert with the broken hand, hoping to play next week. It's a Monday game against Philadelphia. He's I guess I shouldn't say he's expecting to play, but he's acting as if he's going to play. Shedeur Sanders is going to start again. We get Tennessee next week. We have Aaron Jones with the shoulder injury, Dylan Sampson with a calf, Amon-Ra St. Brown ankle sprain, doesn't seem to be a super long-term thing. Parker Washington hip injury, Marvin Harrison Jr. heel injury, a lot of offensive line injuries. The Chiefs, the Vikings are particularly banged up right now. On defense, the Cowboys have a couple of defensive back injuries. The Packers lost a defensive lineman probably for the season. The Texans lost a safety. Steelers have a couple of injuries to keep an eye on. And that's about it. All right, you know what? We're flying through this show here. First of all, I've been told I look like I'm on a bender, which is not good. Not good. I didn't think I looked that unpresentable today, but apparently I do. I definitely need a shower.
You need a shower. Yeah, you could use a shower. Not going to lie. Just as a friend-to-friend type
Yeah,
thing.
I know. I don't really. Let's see. Thursday, I went to pick up the food.
Okay.
For Thanksgiving. I don't.
You didn't cook. You just picked up food.
Yeah, we ordered some cooked and
good
picked
for you.
Up.
Respect.
Never cooking again. Never.
That was too good to
it
do
was
this
so good, and it was so great to not cook.
Yeah.
I don't think I left the house since Wednesday.
That's awesome.
No, it's not.
That's incredible.
It's not at all. I went outside. I took the garbage out on Friday. I feel like I must have left once. I brought the garbage in.
No.
Oh, I played tennis. I forgot I played tennis on Saturday.
Nice. How'd it go?
Oh, horrible. Just
why?
Again, I played the same guy who kicked the crap out of me last time. He's really good, and You
have no answer for his game?
No answer.
My brother got 4. I played tennis this weekend too with my brother. He got 4 games off of me in one of the second set. Same thing that happened against you. Dude. I just lost. Yeah, it's the most he's ever gotten. He's in such good shape, and I'm in such horrific shape. I don't look like I should be in bad shape, but I'm in so much worse shape than I look from a winded standpoint. I don't know what it is. He's like, you got to change your diet, man. You got to do this and this and this. And I'm like, I'm not going to do any of that stuff. I don't think. So I'm just going to keep getting winded in second sets. And just it wasn't even the same. It's like player 1 in the first set, player 2 in the second set. It's not. I have figured it out because I can't.
Are we blaming the butter?
Yeah, I was about to say.
It's not the butter. It's not the butter. The butter in the coffee is actually better for you than you'd imagine. It's just fat. There's no carbs in it, and you burn it off. But it's the late night junk food that I eat almost every single. It's not a good setup. I need to get control of this. I need to start doing some HIIT workouts, whatever those are called. I just can't have these second sets like.
Let's make a pact, you and me. After no eating after 9 p.m.
I would love to do that. I just think that I'll break that pact within one day.
No, let's try it. Because I would too. But if you can do it, then I can do it.
The difference is you are at home after 9 p.m., which I can control. I don't eat like crap at home. I'm not saying you can control that. I'm just saying for me, that's not my issue. I play in some poker games at some nights, and then I eat like crap in those games. They're all catered and blah, blah, blah. So
you got a lot of vices, Dan.
All right, let's change my lifestyle. Yeah. I have a lot of vices.
I wanted to read a quote from the AP recap of Buffalo-Pittsburgh. It said, quote, "The swirling winds at one of the league's trickiest venues made passing nearly impossible for both teams." So keep that in mind. Khalil Shakir had a horrible game. Here's another trend I've noticed with Khalil Shakir. He played 49% of the snaps. If you look at Khalil, you know what? I'm not even going to tell you. I'm going to show you in a minute here. But Khalil Shakir, I'll come back to that because it's so cool. Justin Herbert, 40% of his throws were under 2.5 seconds. That's down quite a bit from the previous 2 weeks. His deep ball rate was up. They actually looked like a normal offense. He wasn't great. He threw a touchdown. He threw an interception in the end zone, one play after coming up a yard or two short of a touchdown. So the stats could have been better. Herbert missed some time with the hand injury, threw only 20 passes, but I think it was at least good to see the Chargers offense look like a functional offense. Now we just have to see how it looks with the hand injury.
That's against the Raiders defense though. Yeah.
It was, yeah. They have, who do they have next week? Oh, the Eagles. Yeah. So
there were definitely a few reps where Pipkins definitely held Crosby coming around. They're not going to call every hold, but it is what it is. I feel more concerned on that offense. I feel more concerned about Jacob and I's boy, Oronde Gadsden. I mean, the involvement is just so down from where it was when he debuted with those 2 breakout weeks.
Yeah, I feel concerned about everyone, and maybe even Omari and Hampton. We'll talk about. All right, ready? I'm going to show this Khalil Shakir thing, and then we'll take a break. But this is Khalil Shakir's snap share. Let me zoom in a little bit more here. I never know how much to zoom. Too much? Get out of here, video. All right. Well, anyway, I'm botching this. See his snap share there? And see the score? When they blow opponents out, he plays 50% of the snaps. He does almost nothing. So Khalil Shakir, they're facing the Bengals, then the Patriots next 2 weeks. Those should be nice competitive games. They got Cleveland after that. That's probably a blowout. And Philadelphia. I think Bengals, Patriots, and Eagles in 3 of their next 4 games. You should have some competitive games. You should have more snaps, more pass attempts, more targets for Khalil Shakir.
You hope.
Yeah. All right, guys. We take a quick break. We'll let Jacob talk when we come back.
You can't count on accurate expiration dates.
No, that is a rookie mistake.
Or the kindness of strangers. But thanks to CBS Sports, you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
All right. I guess I can get rid of Khalil Shakir now. There we go. Thank you, Thomas. Jacob, what stood out to you in terms of anything?
Got a lot of snap notes. We'll start with some of the Thursday stuff. So Kabanange, I think, continues to earn a bigger role for Chicago, especially in short yardage situations. So he had a 60% red zone snap rate on Thursday's game. 4 or 5 running back touches in the red zone, finishes with 22 runs for 130 yards and a touchdown. The Eagles had not allowed a 100-yard rusher on the year. Some run games have been able to get after the Eagles on the ground, but not like this. And so I just want to point all of that out. This Bears offense has just been so freaking good with the ground game. And of course, that's been all over Twitter since Thursday. Lots of fun Ben Johnson clippable plays to share. But it's like, as you look forward to the rest of this season, I don't really see why this is going to change or who's going to slow this down. So I feel pretty good about both of these guys. And Monangai has been the one who's been getting the short yardage work, the red zone work. And so if this keeps being a high scoring offense, I think he's a decent flex play on his own. And again, if something is were to happen to Swift, then we're looking at like a top 8, top 10, top 12 type of fantasy running back. For the Bengals in the Thursday night game, I thought it was interesting how involved Samaje Perine was. We still got a lot of Chase Brown, a lot of targets and everything. So it was basically kind of what we've been getting, but some of the underlying stuff wasn't quite as good. 59% snap rate for Chase Brown to 41% for Perine. There were a lot of runs for Perine, which was weird to me. And it wasn't just the second half of this weird blowout game. 6 runs for Chase Brown to 4 for Perine in the first half. So are you guys worried about that one at all? I don't think I've heard anyone talk about this.
Yeah, I worried. Yeah, I mean, I think, look, we liked Chase Brown because Joe Burrow was going to kind of make this offense great. And Brown, I think Brown's going to mostly work near the goal line. They'll mix Perine in a little bit, especially on third down. Third down is Perine's down. But yeah, it's like Chase Brown. If Perine were out, I think Chase Brown could be a top 5 running back rest of the season. With Perine in, I still think top 12 with Burrow and Perine.
That's about right. Because last season when he did kind of break out down the stretch and he was in a lot of ways a league winner for a lot of teams, it was with the injuries at running back, and it was with that, no Perine stealing some of the touches, stealing the third down work. So top 12 seems fair to me down the stretch run for sure with Burrow back.
I only say top 12 because almost every freaking running back now is dealing with someone.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's the catches are going to make or break it for Chase Brown, but also I'm guessing over his last 6 games, he's probably averaging close to 5 yards per carry. I don't know, just off the top of my head. He has been so efficient. I think their line's playing really well, actually. And I don't know. I think Arrow's pointing up in general for the Bengals offense now, and he'll benefit from that, but certainly he'll be affected by Perine.
Alrighty. Speaking of, pretty much every running back is dealing with it. Travis Etienne, we saw Bashal Tune maybe a little bit healthier in his second game after that ankle sprain, continued to cut into the work, especially in the red zone. This is kind of like the Swift Monangai thing. So 47% snap rate for Etienne, to 32% for Tootin, 12 runs for Etienne to 8 for Tootin. But Tootin had 50% of the red zone snaps, and he had 3 touches in the red zone to 0 for Etienne. They came on 2 different drives. The second one, so the first one came after a big play from Jacoby Myers, so that could have just been the fact that he was in the game already. But the second one, Tootin specifically came in for short yardage reps and then stayed on the field and capped it off with a touchdown. So that is a problem, I think, for Etienne. I don't know if Tootin is necessarily going to take a larger role, but they didn't run very much or very effectively in this game. And so that left Etienne managers with basically nothing.
Yeah. One of the busts of the week. Yep. And he'd been playing so well. It sucks. I don't get it. Stop with the committees, everyone. Just stop.
Quick breaking news to get in. Todd Bowles said it's a possibility Mike Evans could return to practice this week. I did not see that coming this early. That could be really nice for fantasy managers.
For Kansas City,
sorry, go ahead.
Isaiah Pacheco returned, 27% snap rate, only 3 of 17 running back runs, the other 14 with a 67% snap rate. Pacheco might get more involved. I thought he gave them a couple of big plays, so we'll see. But it was pretty much all Kareem Hunt. For the Saints, Devin Neal making a start for Alvin Kamara had an 81% snap rate and 71% route rate. So those are both really, really strong. It's on the Saints. Maybe he'll not get red zone touches, but we didn't really see a ton of Taysom Hill in this one. So those are massive rates. And I think he's pretty much like if you just combine Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears playing time into one player, you basically have like 8 to 10 PPR points as a floor is what it feels like with this role.
Yeah.
For the Steelers, Jaylen Warren did get more work this week. I thought looked good. So it seems like we're turning in the right direction with his health, hopefully, to close out the season. And some good matchups here. I think he's somebody you can hopefully start to close out the season. 56% snap rate for Warren, had 14 touches to 8 for Kenny Gainwell and 2 for Caleb Johnson. And it is the time of the week where we talk about the Seattle Seahawks once again. Either the usage is better for Kenneth Walker, but it doesn't matter. Zach Charbonnet, of course, outscores him. Barely did rip off. It was a nice run, 17-yard touchdown run. And Charbonnet was the running back on the field for the 2 red zone drives in this game. But over the 2 previous games, Kenneth Walker was on the field for 68% of the short down and distance reps. So that's when 3 or fewer yards are needed to gain a first down or a touchdown. Walker was out there for 68% of the snaps. He outtouched Charbonnet 8-1 in short down and distance situations over the past 2 games. So I don't think that the fact that Charbonnet happened to be out there for like 4 plays or whatever in the red zone this week means that it's his role necessarily. That's not what it looked like as I dug into this. But we don't really know. But prior to the week 8 bye, it was like clearly his role. He had 69% Charbonnet of those short down and distance snaps. Since the week 8 bye, it's been 50%. So it's pretty much even. Could go to either one of them in short down and distance situations. And then clearly, and by the way, Walker has more of those touches in those situations since the week 8 bye and has outsnapped him overall. He's outsnapped Charbonnet in 5 straight games. This one was another one. And then they're also throwing him the ball. He has a route rate of 50% or higher in each of the past 2 games after only hitting that rate once through the first 11 games or whatever. And he has 3 targets in each of the past 3 games. So I feel all right starting Walker week to week, and I would be really nervous if you had to ever start Charbonnet is where I'm at with these 2. But Charbonnet is a pretty good player, and they can run on people for sure, and they can score a lot of points. So he's not the worst flex.
Okay.
That's all I've got. The receiver tight end notes are pretty quick and a lot of really weird players here. So I think this will be fun. BTJ was back, 84% route rate for him, 81% route rate for Brenton Strange, scored the touchdown. So I think that you can start those guys, but I don't really know what Jacksonville's going to do. They've been all over the place week to week. Kyle Pitts, 93% route rate for Pitts and had a bunch of targets. He had a bunch of yards after the catch. And it wasn't just like one long yard after the catch play. He had at least 4 yards after the catch on every single catch. This was a career high in YAC for Pitts. So it seems like they obviously want to run the ball, Atlanta, but they know like the limitations that Kirk Cousins has right now. And so the offense is kind of predicated on like getting Pitts going, getting him moving before the snap, at the snap, catching the ball and then running. And it worked pretty well in this one. So maybe you can start Kyle Pitts. If that's
we talked about this yesterday on the show. I mean, Heath isn't so optimistic that Drake London's going to come back. But if Drake London comes back, then I'm not really going to be too fired up about starting Pitts. Yeah. I got to be honest, I was a little worried, not in the sense that I was ever considering sitting him, but a little bit worried about Bijan Robinson going into this game because I mean, and I actually watched a lot of this game. I just think their offense is garbage right now. Bijan, of course, scores 30 fantasy points, but he was superhuman in this game. He was unbelievable. And I do think there's some duds that he could struggle. He could struggle against Seattle next week. He really, they're not going to do it. This is not actionable. Bijan's the man. You're never going to sit him. But I did not come away with from that game impressed with Atlanta's offense. I think they suck. So I think Seattle's going to make them quite humble next week. And yeah, Pitts though, Seattle does struggle with tight ends. So if London's out, then maybe you go with Pitts. But I think Cousins is just not going to get it done, and I'm not super optimistic about them going forward.
Moving back. Yeah. Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, me either. I was just going to keep it moving. You got more Pitt stuff?
I want to go back actually one game. The one thing my key takeaway from one of the games, just watching it back this morning, was just watching some of the routes. Jaguars, I have a strong, maybe it's a gut feel. I have a good feeling about Jacoby Myers rest of season. I think it maybe took some time for him to get ingratiated into the offense. That's only going to improve his rapport with Trevor Lawrence. Just looking back at all of the ways that Lawrence has won in this Liam Cohen system, a lot of it has been through the slot. A lot of it has been through players like Parker Washington, who's now injured. If I'm making a bet down the stretch run, it's not BTJ. It's going to be Jacoby Myers, so I think could be really big down the stretch run there.
Okay. All right, what else you got, Jacob? Oh, actually, wait. Can I tell everybody to go rock the vote?
Oh yeah,
yeah. We got.
Where are we at in this bracket? Somebody.
We're in the Elite Eight, bro.
Finally, I've been voting. I was again very disappointed in our seeding, but it is what it is. We were the 7th seed, and as you can see, we knocked off the 2 seed. Now it looks like we knocked off. The fantasy footballers. What were they? The 3 seed? Is that right? No, they were the 6th seed. Wow. Okay.
They were underseeded. They were underseeded too.
They were also underseeded. We're doing great out here. What do we have left? Paul Allen, we got to beat out. We're not. Part of my take is in this. That's gonna be.
If we get to the championship, it's gonna be Pat McAfee or part of my take probably.
Wow.
But anyway, go to the64.com and vote in the best sports podcast radio show challenge. We're in the Elite Eight, and the voting for this round ends today, Monday. So please go and vote for fantasy football today. It is super quick. Just you give your cell phone number, they text you a code, you type it in, you vote for FFT. You can vote for the other ones too.
Thank you.
We'll try to win.
And thank you for all of you who voted.
Very thankful. Speaking of thankful, we have a good Thanksgiving related poll on YouTube. But Jacob, you want to finish up your wide receiver and tight end notes?
Yeah, for sure. We've seen questions in the chat. A lot of people asking about Jackson Smith-Njigba and Sam Darnold. We're going to talk about them on tomorrow's Beyond the Box Score for sure. Let's stay in this Atlanta game. On the other side of the ball, we saw the AD Mitchell breakout finally. 39% target share, 58% of the air yards. It's still Mitchell and John Mechie as the 2 primary route runners for the Jets. And I think like we saw, if as long as Mitchell can like not drop the ball, if he's like getting open and they start to build that rhythm, I think that Tyrod's just going to keep going back to him because he's so clearly the best separator on the team. Mechie has done well, but like Mitchell is just the guy who can get open in different areas of the field over and over. And so like if they can get that rhythm going and that confidence going, I think it legitimately could be fantasy relevant. Obviously, it was in a big way this week. We're talking about, do you feel good betting on Cal Pitts? Like, do you feel good putting your fantasy championship run in the hands of AD Mitchell and the Jets? Probably not. But if you want just a free shot of upside, like he could give you 15, 20 points like we just saw in week 13. The underlying data all supports it. And he's been one of the best separators in the league since he got here. Like it's just been about converting on it.
That dynasty trade that Dan made for AD Mitchell is finally going to pay off.
Well, it's an interesting one. It ended up being Diggs. I get Diggs and Mitchell. You get Lad McConkey. So I still think you won that.
I did.
Yeah.
But let's not laugh it off like it was an obvious win. It was like a early second for a late second at the time. And Diggs, when he was like going into that Texan season, I was playing in a win now situation. This wasn't a recent trade.
And he wins. He wins all the time. Except I don't think he's going to win this week.
All right, two more notes. Harold Fannin Jr., 93% route rate, highest mark of the year for Harold Fannin Jr., only at 37% route rate for David Njoku. So it's like he had the highest route rate on the team, even higher than the wide receivers, 22% target share. It's been above 20% in like 8 straight games or something. Like this is really unique usage for a tight end. I know it's on the Cleveland Browns, but like it's so focused on him. So you actually kind of do have a good floor. It's weird to say that because
they throw for 110 yards a game.
There's an outcome any given week where it could fall out and you could get like 2 catches for 8 yards or whatever. But like most of the time, if you just simulate it like 100 times, like most of those times you're going to get this 47 yards and 6 catches or whatever, and like have a pretty good fantasy floor, which you don't have very many tight ends that give you that kind of stability. Any tight end can bust, basically, is where I'm at. Sure. The last note is 97% route rate for Isaac Tesla. I don't know if that's ever going to matter, but like if Amon-Ra St. Brown is out and they know that moving forward, maybe they do base more of the offense around him. Dan Campbell has been quoted as like saying that like it's time for him to get more targets. It's time for him to get like be a bigger part of the offense before the St. Brown injury. That like we've needed him to like kind of show us that he can do the things and be in the right place, and he's done that. He's done everything we've asked of him, and so we think he's going to be a bigger part of the offense going forward. So we'll see. He only had 2 targets in this game.
You're forgetting the most important one here. This comment from Jim. I'm going to pick up that 320-pound tight end for Pittsburgh. He had an 80% route participation rate.
That is a good one.
Washington. He only had 4 targets. He caught 2 of them. He destroyed like 6 people. He went for 45 yards. I love him. He's becoming my favorite player. And I really hope I'm going to guess his yards per catch is like 3.
I wanted the Giants to draft Darnell Washington so badly when he was.
I was just about to look it up because I'm like, on a per opportunity basis, I bet he's been pretty good. 1.8 yards per out run this year. That's pretty dang good.
Yeah, man. 12.5 yards per catch for Darnell Washington. 7.4 yards after the catch for him. No one wants to tackle him. I actually think this could be something. I really do. They're desperate for anything. I wouldn't even say a number 2 receiver because their number 1's doing nothing. They're desperate for a number 1 option. You're not to say he's going to lead them in targets, but Washington getting an 80% route rate. Now, Dave was telling me that they use him specifically against either 4-3 or 3-4 defenses. I think 4-3 because you look at his route rate, it goes up and down, up and down. Like you think, oh, they're using him, and then next week nothing, or very little. But I don't know. I think we might have something here, honestly, with Darnell Washington. I'll finish up with a few things here. I think you mentioned pretty much everything I was going to say, actually, except you want like a couple of wide receivers who are playing a ton and for 16-team leagues or whatever, maybe 14. Devon Vele for the Saints.
Yeah.
David Sills for the Falcons.
Ooh.
Sills has a touchdown and 2
former Giant.
Yeah. These guys, yeah, whatever. I think that's all I had. Oh, the Bucks offense. I mean, the Bucs offense, I wish it would part of the buy or sell, but Chris Godwin, 67% of the snaps, ran 67% of the routes. When he has been on the field over the last 2 weeks, Godwin's had 9 targets, Ibuka's had 7, and no other players had more than 3. And I think if you look at the 4 games that he's played, it does not paint a good picture for Cade Otton. What's going on with Ibuka right now? Well, let's just take since week 7 because he got hurt in week 6, and then week 7, everything's kind of falling apart for Ibuka. He's wide receiver 36 per game, and he is just behind number 35 per game, Justin Jefferson. They have very, very similar stats. They both have a ton of targets. Like since week 7, Ibuka is wide receiver 36 per game with the 4th most targets at the position and 6th in target share, on pace for 167 targets. He's doing nothing with them. 42.4% catch rate. A lot of, downfield stuff. Baker's been a little bit off again. It's 2 weeks in a row. I've watched all the routes where he's, had some opportunities for chunk plays. It just haven't happened. He had a drop in this game that would have been about a 15-yard or 12 to 15-yard catch. But I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it. But the Godwin development, not great because Godwin's getting a ton of targets when he's on the field. The Evans development, not great. The Jalen McMillan development, not great. So it's funny. Everyone's just so pissed at Justin Jefferson since week 7. Jefferson's been like 0.3 of a point better per game than Ibuka. They're both really killing you right now. All right, let's take a break. Come back. Actually, I have a bonus fantasy cops I want to get to.
We'll talk nice. Let's go.
Jefferson. Yeah, baby. Justin Jefferson and more after this.
It can't be
Mr.
last.
Richard?
Yeah, Doc.
Unfortunately, Mr. Nibbles crossed the Rainbow Bridge moments ago.
He was the best hamster I have ever known.
I know this is a difficult time for you, but would you happen to know of any deep stash dynasty tight ends I could zero in on for my draft tonight?
Jatavion Sanders.
Thank you. I'm sorry for your loss.
And we welcome you back, everybody, to Fantasy Football Today. All right.
I love that commercial.
You do? Well, I know what else. I know what else you love. You love the Fantasy Cops.
I don't know if we're going to be able to beat last week's, though. That was unreal.
Last week's was crazy, but this one's from Jeremy. Hey, Austin, Pete, Paul, and Roger.
Austin, Pete, Paul, and Roger. Roger Clemens, no.
I don't know. It's the Who or something?
The Who, really?
No. I have no idea who these are.
Well,
all right. Well, anyway, Jeremy says, I'm the commissioner in a 12-team league. I've been babysitting my brother-in-law's team all year because he's new. But even after weekly reminders, he never, ever sets his lineups, like not even once. This week, he managed to squeeze into the last spot to make the playoffs, which start next week. Am I in my rights as the commissioner to manually push him out of the playoff spot and put the team below him in? I'm 100% certain he wouldn't even notice.
What? This is a joke, right?
No.
So he wants to manually take a team that earned the playoff spot, move him out just because what? He wasn't active enough this season?
He would dispute the word earned. He's been babysitting his team. I think he's been setting lineups for him.
That's your first mistake.
I am so confused about this.
Trying to help his brother-in-law out. The brother-in-law.
And then finally, when push comes, he tries to help him out. Then push comes to shove, and the guy makes the playoffs. He's like, "No, never mind. You're out."
He doesn't really this.
Look, I'll defer to you guys because otherwise, I'll probably lean toward what Dante Goosecon has said in the comments. My thoughts on this type of league: not a huge fan. Not a huge fan.
Not everybody gets to play in leagues with 12 dedicated people. This
if you're, it's
a family league here.
It's a family league. Well, just let him make the playoffs. Who cares?
Yeah, let him make the playoffs.
Right. Yeah. If you've been doing this, if this is his team, you set the team, then that continues to be his team, and this is just what you've dug yourself here.
Yeah, but do not let Gung Ho Joe is right. Do not set his lineup in the playoffs.
Oh, no. No more setting the lineups. No more text messages. You can text him before the playoffs. That's it.
All right, let's get a fun tweet here, and let's see if Dan or Jacob get this reference.
All right.
This is from the
Home Alone. Come on, I know.
Okay, Fake Boston Globe account says Aaron Rodgers looks like he tried to rob Kevin McAllister's house.
You missed it with this though. There were better memes here of people saying this is like me on the show when I use my nose strip. By the way, when we play tennis next, you can be sure that I will be wearing that nose strip so I can breathe.
Okay, I'm sure it was the breathing.
Yeah, part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's go to our buy or sell here. And the first one is from Black Rose, and Black Rose says, buy or sell, Justin Jefferson should be considered outside the top 30 rankings at wide receiver, going forward.
Well, certainly if J.J. McCarthy is forced to miss more time, he should be. A great lesson this past week. And just when you think things can't get worse than they are, and I think from what I saw before his concussion, JJ McCarthy was second to last quarterback out of 900 in EPA, just ahead of Jamarcus Russell, who may be the worst quarterback in NFL history. Well, Max Brosmer is somehow worse. It is somehow possible to be worse, and Brosmer looked horrifically bad. The ball location, the footwork, I think he is not capable of playing another snap at any kind of level and moving the offense anyway. Now, it is Seattle defense. Let's be clear. McDonald's a genius, and they have so much talent there. So maybe Brosmer could be better, but against a easier defense. But Brosmer or JJM, I don't think Justin Jefferson is inside the top 30 regardless.
We got
you mentioned the match. I'm just gonna say the matchups. The
Yeah.
only reason is the matchups. Washington is 28th against receivers. Dallas is 32nd. The Giants are 29th. Detroit is 30th. These are their next 4 games. One of them is outdoors in cold weather. That's the Giants in week 17. The other, or week 16, pardon me. The others are indoors indoors. So that is the saving grace here for Jefferson. I would argue that Detroit, if they are actually healthy in week 17, because they've had injuries in the defensive backfield all year, they might actually be a good secondary. But that's the argument for Jefferson is it can't get any worse, and the schedule's so good.
But even if it can't get any worse, like, that doesn't. What has he been? He hasn't been anywhere near the top 30, right?
I just said since week 7. I missed that. No. It was lost in the Ibuka stuff. But since week 7, he's wide receiver 35 per game in PPR. But that's with 2 games with Carson Wentz.
Right.
It's gotten worse since then. And not that he was great in those games with Wentz, but it's gotten.
He was playable with Wentz. What are his non-Wentz? I wonder what his non-Wentz wide receiver per game numbers are. They got to be bad.
Bad.
Real bad. Yeah.
Jacob, let me give you this stat. In the non-Wentz games, the Minnesota Vikings are averaging 150.7 passing yards per game.
Ugh.
Gross passing yards per game, not including, not taking away for sacks. So let's say 151 passing yards per game. Jacob, over the last 10 seasons, that would be the worst in the last decade. I didn't even go farther back.
Wow.
It's hard to find teams that are like 170. So they're 151 passing yards per game. It's mind-blowing. Jacob, what were you going to say about Jefferson?
I was going to say that we got 60 total catchable air yards from Brosmer in this game, which is actually not the worst game we've had all year for Minnesota, which is just crazy. McCarthy had 58 last week. But he at least was throwing down the field a little bit. Brosmer's average depth of target on catchable balls was 2.6 yards. Anytime he did throw down the field, it was pretty much just no shot. Brosmer on throws of 5 or more air yards was 6 for 16 in this game, 3 picks, which, by the way, he had a 19% highly accurate throw rate on throws that came 5 or more yards down the field. Tyrod Taylor's was the next lowest at 31%, so 19% is extremely low. Actually, though, the lowest on the week belonged to Lamar Jackson at 9.5%.
Whoa.
On 21 of these throws. Yeah, he is not playing well. I definitely could have been off base thinking that he was fine last week.
He had some bad luck in this game, right? Like you had likely fumbling. No, I'm talking about Jackson. Likely fumbles going into the end zone. That cost him a touchdown. Zay Flowers gets a ticky-tack pass.
Yeah, but he didn't agreed on that.
But he made
the Bengals defense
to score a decent amount of fantasy points against the Bengals. Yeah,
it's the Bengals defense. There's no excuse for what happened against the Bengals defense for me, at least.
I just want to give one more stat on Jefferson. He had a 20.7% target share yesterday. With JJ McCarthy, it's been 28.1% or higher every week.
Yeah.
So that's at least if we get McCarthy back. We may not
be better with McCarthy.
May not get a lot more yards, but I think we'll get a better target share.
Touchdown upside is so low, though. I mean, it's almost non-existent in that offense. So, yeah, I mean, I think, best said by the chat here, Dante Guzcon again. He said, why didn't they just keep Nick Mullins? Seriously, though, why didn't they just keep Nick Mullins, Minnesota? They should have paid him. I don't know what it would have cost. Probably not much than the Jaguars backing up Trevor Lawrence. I think he's their number 2. I don't even know if that's even true, but I think that's the case. Should have just kept Nick Mullins. What happened there?
I think going back to McCarthy would be a lot better. Like you said, the first week target rate was much, much lower for Jefferson than we've ever seen it. And I gave you the 58 catchable air yard stat for McCarthy. It hasn't always been that bad. He actually has a couple of games where he's been at 169, 164, 150.
Okay.
For reference, the best rates the Vikings have had all year were Carson Wentz starts. He had a 238 catchable air yard game, a 226 game as well. But he's also had games, and these weren't just the late games where he got hurt. Like week 8, Carson Wentz's number was 80, which is really, really low. But week 3, Carson Wentz didn't have a good game. Week 5, Carson Wentz didn't have a great game. Those are like 128 catchable air yards, 92 catchable air yards. So I don't. It's been awful with McCarthy, no doubt about it. But I think it's clearly better than what we just got, where it was like not a functional offense at all.
Okay, let's go to our next.
I had Jefferson at wide receiver 23 this week. It obviously was even worse this week, but like that's where I had him ranked going into the week. I think it's totally viable to ask this question: is he outside of the top 30? That seems insane because it's Justin Jefferson, but that's basically where we're at.
The matchups could help hopefully down the stretch, but it's just hard to buy. It's just a good example of why you have to be really careful with putting name brand receivers behind these type of quarterbacks. Like in the end, the quarterback does kind of dictate the fantasy success, in my opinion, in most situations.
Okay, let's go to our next topic. We hate these committees and timeshares. Morgan says buy or sell. Kimani Vidal has forced a timeshare.
Yeah. Buy, right?
I've got some Vidal stats that are crazy. I haven't got to the film yet. I'm very excited to, but apparently, according to True Media and PFF's charting, he had 13 avoided tackles in this game, which ties Bijan Robinson for the most of any player in any game this year.
Damn.
Yeah. 124 out of 126 rushing yards after contact is what they have it charted as. That's the seventh most yards after contact in a game this year.
Basically, you're telling me this was like one of the best individual games by a running back this season?
On paper.
Yeah, I can't imagine Omarion Hampton comes back to the role he had then. Just doesn't make any sense. Why would he?
Yeah, he had 5 to 7 targets in his last 3 games, including one in which he got injured, Omarion Hampton. So that was huge. He scored 24.9, 27.5, and then 13 fantasy points in a game that he left early with an injury.
Right.
He looked like, first round value kind of player after the Najee Harris injury. I also feel like they definitely need a good pass protector back there. And I feel like Vidal is certainly going to have an edge there. Would you agree with that over Hampton?
Just from getting more reps in, and playing more. Yeah.
And that's what he was a third down back originally.
Right.
So I feel like that would be kind of what, and I watched.
They'll mix back in Hampton. They're not going to just not play him, but
for sure.
Going to be some kind of committee.
Yeah, I'm curious what it was. I was really rooting against Vidal because I have Hampton coming back in a few leagues, and I was like, please don't have a good game. But he had a huge game, and let's see, they've got Philadelphia, at Kansas City, at Dallas, and Houston. It's a terrible schedule.
Terrible schedule for running backs.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. All right, I think we can move on from that, and let's go to our last buy or sell. It's about 3 running backs. Buy or sell on Rico Dowdle, Bucky Irving, and Javonte Williams. So I'll just ask you guys, how would you rank them rest of season? Rico Dowdle, Bucky Irving, Javonte Williams.
I'm going Bucky, Javonte, Rico, but Bucky and Javonte are very close.
I'll go Javonte, Bucky, then big drop off to Rico for me.
I'm with Jacob, Bucky, Javonte, Rico. I'm pretty encouraged by Bucky Irving. Like this
is probably fair to put Bucky ahead of Javonte.
Yeah, he kind of first game back ran away from a committee. He's not going to be the third down back. That's just not going to happen. But damn, he got 17 carries.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And he scored a touchdown. And the thing is, his yards per carry have been bad all year. I don't really get it because I watched it and he looked pretty good. His touchdown run was really good. I don't know why the efficiency has been bad. He's averaging 3.4 yards per carry. But
so much of that is like front loaded when they were trying to work their center at left tackle and they were like all jumbled up on the offensive line.
Right.
Maybe it was bad yesterday too, but I mean, it was what, like 3.8, but and that was against a struggling run defense. But I don't really care. I think he's their guy, and you just have to hope that Baker Mayfield throws to him on first and second down. That would really boost him. But I'm pretty pumped about him.
Yeah,
and Javonte, I think he got a little lucky with that touchdown catch, right? So he's been struggling. He's got a tough schedule. Detroit, Minnesota, Chargers should be good. He's got a tough schedule the next 2 weeks. Finishes with the Chargers in Washington. Here's what I got on Javonte. So the first 7 games of the year, he's averaging 5.3 yards per carry and on pace for 56 catches. Last 4 games of the year, averaging 4.2 yards per carry, which is very respectable in my opinion because he's had a tough schedule.
Right.
He's only on pace for 27 catches. So a couple more things. One, he's had 3 targets in 2 straight games, which is great. I don't know if there's a specific reason for it. It's not necessarily a lamb in or lamb out thing, but we need 3 targets a game. I'm just asking for 2 catches a game at this point. That would help me for Javonte. 2 to 3. Also, they're winning more. He has averaged 18.7 carries in their 6 wins, 13.2 carries in 5 losses, and 20 carries in a tie that went to overtime. So we need them to be competitive. This is not involved in the passing game. And they are good. I'm a little concerned about them at Detroit this week, but not a huge concern. Minnesota, whatever. I think they're going to compete for at least 3 of their next 4 games. But he's, you guys watched that game on Thanksgiving, right? I mean, I know we were all busy. He's kind of slow. And you saw that run by Malik Davis. Like, Javonte can't really do that. No. And I just think there's been almost no big plays. His longest run in his last 5 games is 20 yards. First 7 games, he had a lot of them.
His 60-yard run in week 5 or whatever was so funny, dude. He looked so slow. But it's he's still good. He's still awesome. Like Kyren Williams is faster than him, but Kyren Williams is slow too, but he's still an awesome running back who is the engine for a really good offense. I don't really see this is not an important point, but why do you think the touchdown reception was lucky? What do you mean?
Oh, just because he barely ever catches the ball now. He's usually 1 catch a game. It saved your game. And he's not really getting a lot of those opportunities lately. Like I said, on pace for 27 catches in his last 5 games.
Yeah. So I did a deep dive on Javonte because people were freaking out and they're like, what is Javonte dust? Is he a sell? And it's nothing has changed. He's still running extremely well. He's playing 78% of the red zone snaps. He's playing inside of the 10. He's getting the ball. He's not getting the ball quite as much inside of the 10. They're throwing a little bit more than they did at the beginning of the year. Maybe that's random, or maybe that's more trust in George Pickens and Dak is playing phenomenally. Who knows? Maybe that's about Javonte, but he's done well. He leads the league in yards after contact per fantasy points data is charting. Everything checks out. Role checks out, offense checks out, and talent checks out. He's not ripping off a bunch of explosive plays, but he's consistently churning out good plays. I have no concerns at all with Javonte. The only reason I would take Bucky over him is because I think there's more upside for Bucky. But they're both, I think, locked in as top 10 guys.
If they throw to him, then you could say Javonte has one of the best roles of any running back in football. But look, he had a 5-game stretch where he had 2 catches. This past Thursday, he had 3 Javonte Williams. Someone said that I called T-Mac's touchdown lucky. I guess I should stop using the word Tedderell McMillan's touchdown lucky. I think that was either yesterday or last week. I shouldn't use the word lucky like this, I guess. I'm saying that when you have a guy like Tedderell McMillan, what did he have? 4 targets or something like that? He had such a nothing game. Yeah, he had 2 targets. He had 2 targets in this game. And he had 2 catches the week before. They went for touchdowns, or 2 of his last 3 catches went for touchdowns. I do think it's a little bit lucky. I'm just saying, you want more catches, you want more yards. You don't have to rely on a long touchdown 2 weeks in a row from Tedderell and McMillan. For Javonte, you're getting almost nothing in the passing game, and he's been the least efficient receiving running back in the NFL. I don't know why, but he does nothing with his catches. So that's why it's man, you got a little bit lucky, I thought, with him catching a touchdown. Maybe I shouldn't be using that word, but it was. I have so much Javonte. It was just a sigh of relief because it looked like he was headed to another high volume game with low fantasy points.
I see him almost identically to Josh Jacobs. In my mind, for a fantasy profile, he's very much like Josh Jacobs. He's kind of like a Derrick Henry, James Cook with way less volatility, and they have more potential to get to the upside, but they also have bigger down weeks. None of those backs get that much receiving involvement. It's mostly on the ground, but you can expect 15 to 22 touches. And it's in a really good offense. And most weeks he's going to be pretty dang solid. I think he's like Josh Jacobs in my mind, which is good. It's a really good player.
And so what it comes down to then is, are they scoring touchdowns basically? Because Jacobs just had a really good game, 17 carries for 83 yards and 1 catch for 8 yards against Detroit. Great run defense. He scored 10.1 PPR fantasy points. That stinks because he didn't score. So that's what it comes down to.
I think part of it is the Packers are more willing to run in the red zone than the Cowboys are, because the Cowboys have George Pickens in one-on-one situations.
Yeah. All right. Rico, though, we watched it yesterday. I went back and watched it today.
Yeah.
Just no way to deny that Chuba Hubbard was the better running back yesterday. And Dave mentioned it, that Chuba said when he first came back from the injury, he wasn't himself. He just got back to feeling like himself a couple of weeks ago. And in his first two games back, he struggled. He struggled against the Jets. He struggled against Buffalo. This is Chuba Hubbard. And then he got 4 straight games with 5 or fewer carries, 17 carries in week 13. Dave Canales said, quote, "It's a dream to be able to have 2 guys that you can count on, and I can call anything that I have on the call sheet and trust that it's going to get executed." Then he was asked why Chuba Hubbard was used more yesterday. He said, quote, "It's just the way that the game played out. We had more attempts, we had more opportunities, and then it really came down to some third down conversions and then also some third down runs. And Chuba's been our primary third down back right now with the protections. But we also run the ball some, and that's a great opportunity. Just make sure he gets his touches." Dan, what's your take on the Panthers?
Chuba is a player that was impressive last season on a per touch basis. I remember watching the tape, being impressed with him. I don't think there's any reason to believe he won't be part of this moving forward, even though there was that stretch where Rico was the lead back, which is why earlier when we asked to rank these players, he was last for me, Rico, kind of a tier of his own.
Yeah, clearly last. Yeah. But now Rico Dowdle is no longer a guy that I think I can trust. I don't know if he's a flex because I still think
they're both worth starting flex wise.
They're like Swift and Monangai, but the offense is way less dependable, way less trustworthy.
Exactly right.
I love that it's a dream to have Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard. Like football guys are so funny to me.
Yeah.
Let me show us.
They're dogs. I love both those guys. I get it. It's just very funny quote.
Show a screenshot before we leave here. Chris Godwin. This was his long catch. Went for 31 yards. You see him? This is kind of like a trick play almost. He just crouches down and he hides behind the defensive line and nobody runs with him. And he got open for a 31-yard play. It's kind of neat play there for Chris Godwin, but was most of his production. Of course, he also dropped a touchdown. Bucs offense is really interesting, man. Like, what's going on with Baker Mayfield? Can we get a good game from Baker Mayfield for once?
No, I've got some really bad stats on even this week with Baker. We'll get to that on tomorrow's Beyond the Box Score.
Oh, look at that. Okay. It would have been a good game if, although I think on the drive on which Chris Godwin dropped a touchdown, I think that drive ended with, I'm not sure. May have ended with the Wirfs touchdown. I don't want to sit here and say, oh, Baker would have had a good game if Godwin had caught that touchdown, because he may have scored a touchdown a few plays later. I don't really remember. I could be wrong about that, though. All right, guys. Thank you. Great show today. And we will talk to you they'll talk to you on Tuesday, and so will I. 2 separate feeds.
There we go.
Everywhere. We'll talk to you later, everybody. See ya.